welcome. Let's get through some TikToks today. I heard that TikTok and the financial advice on TikTok is blowing up like crazy. So naturally, I want to check it out myself and give a couple of thoughts around what people and gurus here are sharing. We're jumping right into it. TikTok, this is the first recommended video for me. So let's give it a go.
I became a millionaire by age 26 and became financially free by age 30. These are 3 best tips that I can give you as a self-made multi-millionaire. Number 1, you have to live below your means and stop buying dumb shit. If you're not making over $500,000 a year, you shouldn't be driving a German car. Instead, you should be driving a Toyota or a Hyundai. Also, you shouldn't be wearing LVs, Gucci's, or Dior's. Instead, you should be wearing like H&M or Zara.
All right, so far off the bat, I cannot really fault him for saying that. I can't verify whether or not he is actually a millionaire or if he had been becoming financially independent in his early 30s. If so, good for him. What he's saying, though, makes a lot of sense. The first tip, actually, I can get behind, because if you are not living below your means, then typically you're not saving up money. There is, specifically in the United States, quite a large amount of people making 6 figures and still living paycheck to paycheck, because the lifestyle creep is ending up costing them just a lot of subscriptions and regular payments. So what he's saying is making sense. Specifically when you're younger, you should be saving a large portion of your financial income to then use compounding interest. So I would agree with that. Let's hear what else he has to say.
Number 2, you have to find a way to make money in your sleep. If you don't do that, you're going to have to work until you die. And the best way to create a passive income source is by investing in real estate. And no, nowadays you don't need that much capital to invest in real estate. You can start out by using a strategy called rental arbitrage.
And now we're coming to the point where I think he's oversimplifying things. So for starters, there is no such thing as true passive income. Either you are working or you're letting the money work, and you need to spend at least some time to review, observe, and steer the money. That all is actual work. Or you're typically ending up with kind of the bottom of the barrel in terms of returns. There are everyday cash saving accounts, and they typically give you 0.25% above nominal interest rate. So that is whatever risk-free rate exists, and you get like 25 basis points on top of it. But that is really not a very good or sustainable way of growing money. Real estate in particular is quite the opposite of passive income. So I gotta challenge what he's saying there. And rental arbitrage in particular, where he is now likely going to talk about, you're going to lend a lot of money. You're going to have a very, very low percentage of equity down on the house. Then you're trying to pull out as much equity as you can. You're refinancing quite often, and you're kind of reusing that liquidity in order to build up more and more portfolio. We've heard that quite a few times on the internet, and it would take much longer than this video, but I could in detail debunk that the reality of that is it's not working out as trivial and as straightforward to it. And the more leverage you take, the less equity you have down on your properties, the more likely you're going to run into issues once a tenant cannot pay, once you do have vacancies, etc., etc. So that tip I don't like, because it suggests that all you need to do in your 20s is you pick up real estate, and then passively whilst you're sleeping, you're going to make money. That is untrue. What is true is if you're using compounding interest, and real estate can be part of a balanced portfolio, over many years you can grow wealth. That indeed is true, but it is neither passive nor is it completely risk-free as he would be showing it here.
And lastly, number 3, become a contrarian. Stop following the crowd. A person who walks alone are usually the ones that go furthest in life.
The last one is whatever tip that is can be true, does not necessarily need to be true. It's an okay tip if you know what you're doing. A person who's just going against the grain still can be an idiot for doing what they are doing and then ending up with not having any success whatsoever. Just because you do something different doesn't mean automatically that it is going to be successful. The relevant factor for something to be successful is a well thought through plan. And if not many other people had that plan before you, then you're going to have a unique position and you're going to be successful and capitalize on opportunities that exist. But the main work is to find the opportunities. And by the way, there are proven methods that are just not as flashy how you can build up wealth over a long period of time. You're not maybe becoming a millionaire by the age of 26, like he's claiming to do, but you can become a millionaire in your 30s and in your 40s if you are consistent and driven, and if you are following a very steady saving routine, and if you're investing smart and with a long-term purpose, then that is going to work. And what many people are misunderstanding is it's not the question of is it possible to reach something. The question that you should ask yourself, is it probable that you're going to reach your goal? And by taking something against the grain, a high risk approach, or investing into real estate without really fully understanding it, following a TikTok advice, I'm not 100% sure that I would subscribe to it. So first part of his feedback, good. The second part, not so much. Let's watch another one and see if this is just the average. All right, so we're diving into the deep end of TikTok. Second video recommended is how to get rich quick. It didn't take very long to
What is the
get there.
fastest way to get rich?
So if someone asks me how to get rich quick, I don't know why people say that you can't do that, because you genuinely can get rich quick. I mean, you know this. What's the biggest month you've ever had?
I think maybe like 200k.
Yeah, for real. So
Well, Matt's already starting off with some really, really poor advice. He asked an OnlyFans girl what her biggest month was, and then that suggests that you can replicate it and easily do it. For starters, there's only a very small portion on OnlyFans of creators that make that kind of money, 0.1-ish%. The vast majority, I think numbers have shown, is around $200 per month. So that is not necessarily livable money per se. And then he completely leaves out the moral implications of what you're doing. I'm not going to judge anyone for how they want to do their money, but I would always at least advise that things come with consequences in life. And for a woman to go into the sex working industry typically has the consequence that she will not find a partner, at least not a satisfying one, over the vast majority of her life, and that she will be stigmatized and branded in a certain way. So for the right or the wrong, that is the consequence, and he just like blushes over that as if it would be nothing. But let's hear what he has to say for the males.
that's pretty quick. So if I wanted to get rich super quick, so I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook a lot, and obviously people are selling products a lot of the time as well. So often when people post products, they'll post screenshots of like how many orders they did for that day, or like sometimes founders will even post photos of like orders going out.
Yeah.
There's been instances before where we've seen a business with like a new brand, and it could be anything, like a gift box or like a weight loss product or whatever it is. They post a photo of all the orders going out. We'll literally pull out our phones, calculate how much they've made that day. If it's significant enough, like 50 grand a day, we'll just copy the whole store. We'll just clone the entire store, steal it, copy their marketing strategy, clone all their products, and we'll do that to make $1 million.
That is, I think, the dumbest thing that I've heard today. And the day is young, so that might not be a low bar, but that was terrible advice on so many different fronts. For starters, what he's saying is you basically just look at an idea online, clone and copy it if it is successful enough, and then the replica will net you millions. So for starters, that only works in businesses that essentially follow the dropshipping logic of having highly standardized, commoditized products, and then you're just marketing it in a certain way. The Alibaba resell strategy that we've seen so many times. And that in itself, I could spend a whole video talking around why that is absolute bogus and doesn't work. The main problem, besides the logistics behind it, is that those trends that you are hunting for typically are micro trends. They only last for a very, very short amount of time, and chances are that you're hopping onto a trend that's already in the decline. Secondly, if you are trying to copy a brand that is a little bit more sophisticated and has longevity in it, for starters, you cannot simply copy products. If he's talking about supplements and so on, you would need to be able to create such product in the first place. And then the second problem with it is simply IP, intellectual property. It would be fraudulent to copy, for instance, clothing and brand designs one-on-one from established brands. He just glances over that as if it would be nothing. Of course, you can make money with fake Louis Vuitton purses, but that is typically counterfeit, and you're going to go to jail for that, or at least have legal consequences, let alone if your store copies their store and it is a legit store. Then there is still the problem of, and that brings us to problem number 3, how to advertise and how to gain big followers on those platforms, respectively, how to get high up in the Google search. That brings us to problems like search engine optimization, where you really need to have a high domain authority yourself, as in you need to be a legit web page, or on those viral videos, you at least need to be able to reach a large audience in order to post your products in front of many, many people. And in order to do that, you already either need to have a following, or you need to pay others, as in marketing budget. So whilst you can earn 1 million, he is deliberately not talking about the amount of marketing investments that you need. And if you're then going down that route and think about that the margins after marketing expenses are super razor thin, then you already need to be well established and need to know the industry well enough to even pull this off. And bonus fact on everything that he is saying, the only people that really post their orders online in order to garner a little bit sympathy or viral momentum are typically people that have faked orders to begin with. So really what he's doing is he's cloning a non-successful faked strategy and then says that that is going to be successful. So there's so much wrong with that advice. I would never advise to do something like that. It's almost as if he would be saying, yeah, you can make fast money if you're counterfeit and if you're fraudulently acting and stealing other brands' ideas. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That is a horrible tip to begin with. Anyways, let me know what you think about the tips in the comments down below, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.